Before we begin today's procession, I just want to share a few brief notes to help the ceremony run smoothly. We ask that you refrain from taking photos in the stage area or in the aisles during the ceremony. This helps ensure that every person has a clear view of the graduates they've come to celebrate. Please feel free to take photos from your seats, and a professional photographer will be capturing each student's moment at the podium, and those photos will be available for purchase on the Tufts Commencement website. Now, please join me in welcoming our honored guests, Sherry Fultonier, Dean of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts, our distinguished faculty, and of course, the graduates of the class of 2026. The commencement ceremony for the School of the Museum of Fine Arts at Tufts within the School of Arts and Sciences will now come to order. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the members of our platform party. Sherry Fultonier, Dean of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts and Professor of the Practice. Jim Dow, Professor Emeritus. Laurel Nakadate, Graduate Program Director and Professor of the Practice. Kenson Trong, Associate Director of Graduate Programs. Leah Gadd, Associate Dean of Academic Advising and Undergraduate Studies. Mikey McMahon, Director of Senior Thesis and Lecturer. And we're very honored to be joined by many other members of our faculty and staff, so thank you all for being a part of this special ceremony. You may be seated. And now, please join me in welcoming the Dean of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts, Sherry Fultonier.
You know, I've been doing this for 4 years. I still can't figure out what to do with the microphones and a speech that I've printed out, so I'm going to muddle along and try and do this. I think of this as a good learning example that as you approach events like this, they don't have to be perfect. You just have to be there. Well, first of all, welcome graduates. And let's just applaud our graduates. And welcome families and friends. And I think I heard a dog. Welcome and thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting our graduates through the years of their programs. And I invite the graduates to stand up and applaud the friends and family that have supported you for this time. Thank you. And before I launch into what will be a very brief speech, it's warm in here, and we have very captivating speakers to come. I also want to applaud our faculty and our associate deans and our staff who have worked so hard this year and for many years to be there for you and provide you with the best possible education. So. I think you may know that we are at 230 the Fenway. That's our campus, and it is located in what's called the Avenue of the Arts. We're next to museums, but we're also next to the Emerald Necklace, and we're across the Fenway from Fenway Park, which is our Red Sox stadium. And I am aware that sports is not a great passion for many arts students. But as we get to commencement, I always find myself thinking about baseball, in part because the Red Sox are just getting started, in part because we hear the cheers coming out of the stadium at times, but also because it's a pre-industrial sport. It was a game that was really developed before industry developed, both historic industry but digital industries. And it's a game that's based on not the clock, but rather the time it takes to play. It's not over till it's over. As a result, the game can be very slow, and players and fans can find themselves with a lot of time on their hands in between those moments when they're called to perform. And perhaps that's why there are so many philosopher athletes in baseball. The reason I'm talking about baseball at an art school commencement is that when I reflect on the work of an artist, especially SMFA artists, a quote from one of these philosopher athletes, Yogi Berra, comes to mind. Has anyone here heard of Yogi Berra? Yeah. Okay, a few of you. For those of you who haven't, he wasn't a guru of any kind, and he didn't teach yoga. Yogi was his nickname, not his proper name, and he was a catcher for most of his career for the New York Yankees, and you know, no one can be perfect, but he was known for his ability to perform in the clutch, and his batting was extraordinary, very controlled, and it came from a great deal of practice. He had many other things that he was known for, but one of them was his surprisingly philosophical and often very funny quips. I already referenced one of them. He was the one that said, "It's not over till it's over." He also, if you may have heard this, said, "It's deja vu all over again." He's also said, "When you come to a fork in the road, take it." But another saying is attributed to him, and the saying is, in theory, there is no difference between theory and practice. In practice, there is. Yogi Berra was speaking as a practitioner. On the playing field, all the theories were only as good as the practice of playing the game. The knowledge one accrues from practice of projecting how the ball will bounce off turf, real turf or artificial turf, and the muscle memories that one builds, learning how to hold the bat the best to hit the ball. I'm not making an argument here against theory. There are many types of theory, and you've encountered a number of them in your education. Theory ranges from the speculative to the artisanal, and we humans use it to formulate, test, build, and share knowledge. I'm rather celebrating the knowledge production that comes from practice, and we artists know a little bit about that. The hands on the brush or the pencil, on the page, the time you spend with the mouse, working on the screen, the doing, the repeated doing, that quietly, slowly, and sometimes abruptly erupts into new possibilities, new insights that set the practice into new directions, open other paths, inspire, at times, whole new beginnings. This is something that you've all become acquainted with in the process of your degree, and something that I firmly believe, and your faculty believe, will serve you whatever path you take after you leave our school. It is a lifelong process that transcends the specific medium with which you work or the discipline within which you locate yourself. But let's also talk about how one thinks about practice. In baseball, as in some other arts, the performing arts in particular, you don't so much hear the word practice as you hear the word play. One plays baseball. Actors play their part. In theater, the performance itself is called a play. In the visual arts, I sometimes think we talk too much about practice as a struggle, practice as a coming to terms with failure and then learning from it. Practice about just, we talk about practice as something difficult and extended and that we have to dig into, but I want to just leave you with this idea, which is, what if we think of it as play? What if we think of learning as play, production as play, of the work that you produce as the result of play, play that comes not only from something that's easy, it's often hard. It sometimes just feels like you're going nowhere, but play that is actually resilient, that's adaptive, play that allows you to see things in very different ways and, really importantly, allows you to share what you're doing with others. So as you go forward from here, you're taking with you the community that you've built. For artists, community is extraordinarily necessary, but it's necessary for everybody. So here you have, and actually I invite you to just look around in your seat at each other for a moment and remind yourself of all the friends, of the faces, of the different types of work everybody has done. This is the basis of a community that you take with you as you leave and can form the foundation of the communities that you will build after this. So I wish you great joy in the play that you will do in the next steps of your life. And you have all my best going forward. It's been a real privilege to work with all of you. We have a special acknowledgement today for teaching professor Tina Wasserman, who is retiring. Tina, will you come to the podium, please? Henceforth, Professor Wasserman, I should say, will be known as Emeritus Professor Wasserman. Tina, here's your certificate.
I'm Caleb Davis, the Administrative Director of the SMFA, and it is my honor to introduce the 2026 student speaker for commencement, Alan Wang. Alan, would you please come up to the podium? It's my pleasure to introduce Alan. I've had the chance to work closely with him and watch him grow into a thoughtful creator, someone who somehow manages to have both the big ideas and the follow-through to actually make them happen. He founded Artrium, which is a nonprofit that connects students with artists, curators, collectors, and galleries, which is something I think a lot of us will be very grateful for in the future. Every year, I hire a student designer to work on promotional campaigns for the many events and projects that we produce. You have seen his work all around the school, and he's helped shape the SMFA visual identity. And along the way, he picked up both the Presidential Award for Civic Life and the Nichols Drawing Breadth Award, among others. Alan is one of many incredible people who are in this class, and I'm honestly proud, we are honestly proud of all of you. We've been watching you grow, come into your own, and that has been a great gift for us. This moment is huge. It's only the beginning, and we are all very excited about what lives you're about to build. And fortunately for us, Alan will be sticking around for the MFA program, so we will be able to watch him very closely. There's no pressure. So Alan Wang.
Thank you, Caleb. Good afternoon, class of 2026. It's a true honor to stand here and to speak to all of you, to our friends, families, staff, faculty, and people who stayed with us throughout every critique, breakdown, and breakthrough over the last 4 years. For those who know me, for more than half of my time here, I was constantly going back and forth between computer science and art. And only this last semester, for the first and last time, I introduced myself simply with confidence and pride as a fourth-year BFA student. Before that, there was a long period when I couldn't see the value of making art, what it could do, or where it could take me. I kept telling myself I need to pursue something practical, realistic, something that could help me get paid right after graduation, something that could change the world. And surely, that can be true for STEM, but strangely, I found myself drifting away from a part of who I used to be. But ever since I started spending more time in the studio again, I began to understand why. First, it meant getting closer and closer to the community of SMFA, one I barely got to know during the first half of my years here. I love doing weekly work report with my boss, Caleb, because somehow every conversation turned into a small piece of SMFA history. I love going to portfolio reviews because those conversations and connections still continue today. I love doing review boards because I was always excited to discover ways of pushing my work further that I could never thought of alone. And I love staying an extra 5 minutes after every one of Ethan's drawing classes just to ask questions about professional art world. People always ask me why I like sitting in front of the TOAC on the right side when you first walk in the building. Part of it was practical. It's probably, excuse me. It's probably one of the best power outlets in the building. But honestly, I just enjoyed watching student life happen around me. Friends stopping to talk to each other, students setting up events, people gathering before openings, and honestly, making sure I could be first in line whenever there was free food. But more than anything, I love the feeling of community that existed in those small everyday moments at SMFA. A space that is caring, supportive, waits for you to return whenever you're ready to figure things out, and allows you to become every possible version of yourself. And that sense of community also shaped how I approached the ones beyond. From inviting friends to help create collaborative opening receptions across art and music, to building an in-person and digital art platform with students across computer science, arts, and education. When I ask people about their favorite memories at SMFA, the answer is always the people. And when I asked what they hope to walk away with, even among all the uncertainty, the core of it is still the community. Maybe this isn't changing the world in the traditional sense of technological innovation or politics, but art allows us to create connections within ourselves and with others. So art may appear useless, but to me, the value is incomparable. Its very uselessness becomes the exact reason why it is irreplaceable, especially at a time when conversations about AI appear at every dinner table. In that sense, maybe what we protect through art is something deeply human, and in that sense, we are truly making a change. Second, I realized that art can truly be difficult. And here, I'm not talking about not knowing how to perfectly stretch a canvas or having to spend meal money on art supplies. I mean how easy it can be to give up. As I mentioned before, I stepped away from art for periods of time during college. And honestly, that was probably the fourth or fifth time that I had done that ever since I first told myself that I want to become an artist. And for more than 4 places I relocated to before I came to the States, from the Loess Plateau, the northwest of China, to Shanghai, and to New England. Art has always been a silent witness. It never tried to direct my life, yet somehow it always continued to depict it. Even today, there are still moments of doubt, frustration, uncertainty, and the long, exhausting hours behind every piece. And I think all of us share that same feeling as well. But over time, I became proud of something simpler, our ability to continue making, to continue caring deeply, and to continue believing that creating something meaningful is worthwhile. So if there's one thing I want to say to myself and to all of you is this: for things that don't seem to serve a purpose right now, you must still do them. And you must do them with confidence and perseverance, because art is a lifelong pursuit, and so is life. Today, I want all of you to continue creating placeholders for memory in an age that forgets quickly. I want you to continue making work that disturbs, invokes, and reaches beyond that language can fully contain. And most importantly, I want you to continue reminding people that they're still alive, because we're born to make art, not war. Congratulations, class of 2026. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So next, it's truly an honor to introduce today's special guest speaker, Jim Dow, Professor Emeritus at Tufts University. I'll say a few brief words. Jim first joined the School of the Museum of Fine Arts and Tufts University in 1973, and for decades he's been a defining presence, influencing generations of artists through his teaching and mentorship. He's taught photography, photographic histories, and contemporary art here and at such institutions as Cooper Union, Harvard, Princeton, and the Vancouver School of Art and Design. He's been widely exhibited in galleries and museums around the world and appears in collections such as the Addison Gallery of American Art, the Art Institute of Chicago, the Getty Center, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, the Museum of Modern Art in New York, the Victoria and Albert Museum, and of course, the Museum of Fine Arts Boston. He's been recognized with numerous honors, including awards from the National Endowment for the Arts, the LEF Foundation, the Mellon Foundation, and he's received a Guggenheim Fellowship and a Lifetime Achievement Focus Award from the Griffin Museum of Photography for his work as a photographer and as a teacher. As a photographer, Jim's work has been described as recording those places where people enact their everyday rituals, from the barbershop to the baseball park. In his own words, he uses photography to try to record the manifestations of human ingenuity and spirit still remaining in our country's everyday landscape. He's widely known for his work documenting roadside vernacular through images of hand-painted signs, diners, laundromats, social clubs, courthouses, sports stadiums, and backroad barbecue stands. These seemingly ordinary places reveal extraordinary truths. As Ian Fraser put it, he's interested in what the American vision is or was, and in the scary open-endedness of our identity. His photographs stand as lasting records of communities, traditions, and ways of life that are often overlooked or have disappeared altogether. As an educator, Jim embodies the values of curiosity, rigor, humility, and a deep respect for the power of observation. He has challenged his students not only to master their craft, but to look closely, think critically, and engage thoughtfully with the world around them. His influence at SMFA extends far beyond the classroom and continues to live on in the work and lives of the artists he has inspired. It is especially meaningful to welcome Jim today as we begin the celebration of the 150th anniversary of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts at Tufts. So please join me in warmly welcoming our distinguished guest speaker, Jim Dow.
Whoa, I'm blushing. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'm going to read this, but I will keep looking at you. To begin, to all the graduating students of 2026, as well as their parents, their friends, significant others, congratulations on your well-deserved achievements. To all the faculty and the staff, particularly Dean Fulton-Neer and Caleb Davis, who made this happen, I'm honored to be asked to be a part of this day. I taught photography and photographic histories and contemporary art at the Museum School for 45 years, and I must have been to at least 30 graduations, perhaps even more. But that said, I didn't go to either of my own, and here I am at yours. That's me on my graduation day at RISD, in a graveyard in eastern Pennsylvania. So, while you were finishing your projects, putting up thesis shows, having review boards, I've been doing my own preparation and decided to organize this brief talk in the same way that I taught my classes, as a combination of images and words, in the hope that a few of my own ideas and experiences from the past might be helpful in thinking about your own future and goals. My intention is to offer a possible portal into thinking about the future, your futures, as thoughtful, informed, creative, visual people wishing to make a mark in a zeitgeist that is sadly saturated with slop, cynicism, and algorithmic flatness. Alongside other images, I'm including an eclectic selection of work by various graduates of the SMFA, a few visual fellow travelers who've already entered the fray. So this is a reference to Catherine Lane Weems. Sorry, I'll put this away a little bit. This is a reference to Catherine Lane Weems in The Origin, the Dora Rhino, and in the headline of a student portfolio from a number of years ago. So, the Catalan conceptual artist Jean Fontcuberta asked Does history make photography? Or is it photography that makes history, or produces history? And I would extend that observation to art generally, to visual, oral, performative, textual art, and so on. Fontcoberta fed this wonderful Hokushu engraving into a military program for 3D modeling, and that's what he got. As all of you, as your creative predecessors have, will inadvertently or deliberately become the visual chroniclers of your time. Given where we are at this moment, that is at once weighty, but it's also empowering. Whatever your certificate or degree, BFA, dual degree, MFA, post-bac, each one of you has spent a significant amount of time, and your irreplaceable time, at a very special place, where the emphasis hasn't been on the accomplishments of your teachers, but the development of your own creative ideas. Make certain to treasure those relationships and experiences, and to build on them. We live in a world that doesn't value education, that isn't top-down, and doesn't even understand it as a concept. There's the museum school in 1993. Quite different visually. These are two of my photo history classes dressed up in World Cup shirts, which I collect for group portraits. I used to tell my classes that if they chose to make a life as an artist, they should think of themselves as freelance producers of intellectual property. With that decision, they would need to hone the skills and acquire the will to nurture and to protect the ideas that they came to value the most. For you, as you leave the protected grittiness of art school, the importance of that increases exponentially. Okay, so that's all nice. Well, that's very nice. There's Al Cap and Liz Prince, two wonderful, wonderful graduates of the museum school. So at this point, I suspect you're asking, well, this is all very nice, but how the hell do you make that happen? This is from How to Speak to a Skeptical Audience. Fair enough. To my way of thinking, it's the most important question at this juncture, given the uncertainties that all of us gathered here are well aware of. Many of the presumptions and systems that supported me have changed, crumbled, even disappeared. I got grants from foundations, research and travel money from my employers, had exhibitions in galleries and museums, and sold work to collectors. My day job, teaching, there's the museum school store in 1993. My day job, teaching, supported my family, and my picture making supported my photography. Despite my sometimes harsh words about institutions, there are those that are open to new ideas and willing to change. That said, a great many claim that they do, but the proof is in the pudding. A facile promise in the moment can mask future obdurate behavior. Be certain to develop a personal radar in this regard, informed by your experience here at the SMFA, where flexibility is generally a given. Over my lifetime, I've come to realize that all these structures and conventions that I benefited from weren't just Italianate columns with foundations of hefty endowments. It was the judgments and the caring of the individuals within them. It was the people I encountered who took my measure and offered me their trust and support in a variety of ways. A full listing of them would be far too long, and most of the names would mean nothing to you. But in each of them, at some point, came face to face with me in the flesh and decided to put their faith in what I had to offer. I say this while understanding that I've had enormous luck, no educational debt, and privilege, being white and male. And I certainly acknowledge that you all face different prospects in a markedly different time that will require navigating significantly different routes and employing definitely different strategies. My own support system began with my parents, who trusted my education to a progressive school at the height of McCarthyism, and subsequently trusted my decision to go to art school. Once there, I had all sorts of teachers, some terrible, others terrific, and several of them changed my life, particularly Harry Callahan. That's a self-portrait of Harry Callahan on the right and a portrait of Harry Callahan on the left, who got me into the MFA program in photography when I had no undergraduate degree, and later supported my wish to work in Walker Evans's tripod marks after seeing the book American Photographs. And if that gravestone seems familiar, my graduation picture was an homage to Walker Evans. The Fluxus artist, Dieter Roth, showed me that art could be anything you wanted it to be, including chocolate and birdseed, and insisted that I meet this, quote, socialist photographer who uses glass plates, who turned out to be Walker Evans. And there's a portrait of Walker Evans on the left, and the circumstances I met Walker Evans looked like a meeting of madmen. Emerging from school, several people at different institutions offered opportunities. The director of photography at the Museum of Modern Art trusted me to take Evans's negatives home and print them for a major retrospective. I flew home clutching them like this. Bill Burke at the museum school gave me a box of slides and asked me to teach photography history, which I hardly knew anything about, but then did for 45 years. That trust continued. Students used to draw me in class constantly, so I collected a whole bunch of them. There's one of them. That trust continued, and later another colleague asked me to teach contemporary art, again, when my knowledge was limited, which I did for the last 25 years at the SMFA. Jacqueline Strasburger entrusted her future with my own, which has grown into a family of 3 generations. There's us getting married in Texas with Judge Stroh Grubbs between us, and there we are at a wedding of a friend 2 or 3 years ago. The first child, he's now on the left. The person on the right on the left is a soccer coach and a special needs teacher in high school. And my younger son is a music manager and plays in a very successful band. And now we have grandkids. I'm not insisting that everybody get married and everybody have a family, but everybody needs the challenges and the directness that families or people that close to you imply and demand. Over the years, 6 different families in Louisiana, England, Argentina, Mexico have welcomed me into their lives and homes and offered me a base from which to explore and photograph in cultures far different than my own. People at the Archive for Documentary Arts at Duke decided to house all my negatives, files, and prints, ensuring that my, quote, intellectual property will survive me and not burden my family with that responsibility. There's Jackie and myself signing the contract. There's me signing the bill of lading. And there goes everything in a truck. Finally, 3 people who I've never met but have come to trust to inform me about the broader world. From the past, I.F. Stone. If you don't know the name, look him up. He was a renegade journalist in the 1950s and 60s. From the present, in the moment, Heather Cox Richardson and Jonathan Capehart. There are, of course, many others. Each of you will need to form similar cohorts, not necessarily of public figures, and certainly not necessarily of artists, but hopefully people of different ages, and certainly some who will disagree with you. These few examples form only a part of my own personal institution, assembled over the years with mutual trust as the defining factor. These are some more graduates, former graduates. From these associations have come opportunities, ideas, challenges, assistance, growth, and in the end, purpose. To help you achieve this, you have access to extraordinary tools that can help. When I started out, Letters sent to widely spread places took days, even weeks to arrive. Hearing a faraway voice on the phone that was often crackly and always expensive, and making eye contact with that person at the other end was beyond the realm of possibility. Today's devices and systems can offer a potential depth of interaction that can generate a personal roster of peers, colleagues, collaborators, and friends who combined with effort, skill, and luck on your part can evolve into formative, supportive, indispensable factors in your future. Familiarity may breed contempt, but it can also encourage confidence, understanding, and ultimately trust. Hopefully helping to flatten, as in decking with a single punch, the flattening that surrounds us all. And now, today, with the reception of your degrees, it becomes your time and your turn. My very, very best to every single one of you as you go forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Okay. We will now confer the degrees of Master of Fine Arts, Post-Baccalaureate Certificates, Combined Degree Bachelor of Fine Arts, and Bachelor of Arts, or Bachelor of Science, and Bachelor of Fine Arts. I'll also mention at Tufts we have a special tradition of inviting faculty members whose children are graduating to join their students and the dean on stage. So we have three such graduates today, just so you're expecting that. So without further ado, please welcome Laurel Nakadate and Kenson Trong from the SMFA graduate program.
We will now confer the Master of Fine Arts degrees. Will the MFA candidates please rise and come forward?
All right, audience, can you hear me okay? All right, this is the part where we call your students' names and they cross the stage. I know it's very hot, it's very dusty and windy, but please, I need you all to pretend you're at Coachella. And these students are the headliners you came to see, so when they cross the stage, I need you to scream. I need you to scream for your students, please. Don't worry, it's fine. If I tell them to scream, they'll just clap, it's fine. All right, ready? Daniel Rumsey. Armando Oliveira. Samantha Stone. Aaron Seraph Kulik. Emmeline Keddy. Marius Marjolin. Peng Long Ma. Danielle Bianca Fuentes. Sung Bin Lee. Laura Sofia Hinojosa. Gemma Bion. Jian Lim. Catherine Chen. Christine Chang. Lindsay Filowitz. Ghazale Sedabadi. And last but not least, Langzi Wang. Congratulations, MFAs. It's been a pleasure working with you. And what did I say? If I told everyone to scream, we would just get gentle claps. Good job. All right, and next we will confer the combined degrees, and I'm introducing Leah Gadd to the stage.
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? It is my great pleasure to confer the degrees for our combined degree students. These are students receiving a Bachelor of Fine Arts and a Bachelor of Arts or Bachelor of Science. May our combined degree students please rise and come to the stage. Radislav Janardin. Avery Westhagen. Jasmine Molly Ma. My fam. Maria Casado. Clara Davis. Zoe Haralambidis. Rachel Leong.
Layla Mendel.
Elizabeth McWhirter Friedrichs. Elika Wilson. Sorry, Elika. Emma R. Thomas. Kai Ruben Wish. Broden Cedar Walsh. Madeline Claire Kelly. Flynn, excuse me. Audrey Elise Leonard. Ilsia Shakarova. Leah Grace Carey. Avery Davis. Natalia Sakaris. Ladau Wang Gavalda. Toki Ashir. Jenny Zhang. Newt L. Gordon Rain. Nicole Hernandez. Hannah Urisman. Catherine Sun. Amy Ma. Shija Day. Jennifer May. Alessandra Mariah Linnea Allegra. Daniel Kui. Hae-Yoon Grace Lee. Catherine Guzman. Thank you, Combined Degrees. Now I'd like to invite to the podium Michael McMahon, Director of the Senior Thesis Program, to announce the confer the Bachelor of Fine Arts degrees.
Hello, I'm Mikey McMahon, the coordinator of the Senior Thesis Program and lecturer. We will now confer the degrees, the Bachelor of Fine Arts. Will the candidates for Bachelor of Fine Arts please rise and come forward? Uleen Chalfin. Zach Goldstein. Rafaela Vogt. Rachel Lim. Evelyn Yoon. Hannah Yi. Ellen Chung. Teddy Wong. Jerzy Vargas Damian. Caro Penier. Greta Bogdansky. Han Feng Shui. Sojong Han. L. Choi. Leave G. O'Quinn. Jamie Atchison. Janie Rue. Gabby Mendez Martinez.
Nina McNinch.
Henry Sage Hoops. Sharon E. Wang. Kumba Tiba Jalo. Elliot Turner. Catherine Wang. Jisen Herbazit.
Luz Palou García.
Jasmine Marin. Alice Adriana Estrada Lara. Rizvan G. Bombay. Aleda Larkin. Sadi Bu Sise. Israel Hernandez. Allison Heyun Song. Doyan Liz Kim. Jerry Hart. Anastasia Maria Glass. Julia Maria Fernandez Yu. Ellen Jessie Cohen. Veronica Coyle. Isabella Rose Ting. Ella Louise Hopner. Luna Maya Smith Mejia. Kaya S. Brulain. Griffin M. Johnstone. Cassandra M. Kellner. Antonio Mikuls. Xavier Zarnacki. Paola Seal Vali Zaraga. Michael Sims. Angela Hahn. Yina Ryu. Sherong Hong. Grace Ji. Andrew Bailey. Everybody, Alan Wang.
Well, in a few moments, we will conclude these commencement exercises. Parents, family, and friends, we kindly ask that you remain seated until the faculty, followed by our graduates, have completed the recessional. And now, on behalf of the faculty and staff of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts at Tufts University, let me once again extend our warmest and most enthusiastic congratulations to our graduates. We could not be prouder of all that you have accomplished, and we hope that you'll continue to explore boldly, create fearlessly, and shape the world with your vision. So, thank you.